Late. Midwest RC said I'm late, man. Come on. It's 2000 on the button. On the button. Look at that. 2000, 37 seconds in. You know, let the music play. I'm not late. You're early, my friend. I know a lot of you guys are, I love the speculation in the chat. That was kind of fun to watch. A lot of you guys have ideas on what this is, and there's definitely some noise in the airwaves out there, but this is not a radio I expected to see. It was kind of cool when I was asked to take a look at this radio. And I'm not going to tease you. We're going to get right into it. We're going to get into it. So here's the outside of the box. Nice handle. And it's got this hard, dense foam. I mean, right out of the box, comes with a really nice package. A couple latches to open it up. And there it is. It's FlySky. So let's open this bad boy up and take a look. Now, one thing that I want to say about radios, and personally, I've never really been all that wrapped up in it. I can tell you when it comes to quality on radios, I know people clamor for a higher level. I know that. And I can't say that they're necessarily wrong. Like the TX16S, my daily driver, it's not perfect. It's not a perfect radio. You know, we all know the audio was a little bit of a struggle. On the Mark I's, the pots were a little soft in the middle. The detents on the sliders weren't so great. Some people complained about the plastic. I don't care about that. But, you know, at the end of the day, I've heard a lot of people say, I really wish there was a high quality EdgeTX radio. And I'm going to tell you something, guys. They, at FlySky, they were swinging for the fences with this radio. So I've done a video on the PL18, and there was actually at the time, there was some effort getting EdgeTX working on the PL18. And I actually worked on that for a little while with the guys. And then just a couple of, like 2 months ago, right before I took the month off, FlySky contacted me and said, hey, we've got a new radio. We'd like you to take a look at it. Would you be interested? And I said, of course, you know, I'd love to. And I got wind of what was going on. And it turns out that they designed this one. They cooperated with the EdgeTX team and with the ExpressLRS software to give us a FlySky flagship radio with the ability to run EdgeTX natively, and it is fully functional, and ExpressLRS. Now I'm going to give you a caveat. This ExpressLRS is not functional on my version yet. I've been talking to the developers about, you know, what needs to be done. And my understanding is there's some kind of little flash tool that FlySky needs to manipulate in order to flash the ExpressLRS binary on the internal Semtech chip, which runs ExpressLRS. Now, once they get that done, we should easily be able to flash an ExpressLRS binary on there and run ExpressLRS native internal on the radio. Okay. So I can't show you ExpressLRS today internal. What I can do is tell you that the external nano module plugs right in. It's powered off the radio, and it does work. So I actually had this installed earlier. You plug it in right there, and it worked. I didn't have any problems running ExpressLRS with the external module. No problem there. So anyway, we're gonna get into the radio, but first I want to show you a couple of things inside. And this is what I mean about flagship, okay? A lot of guys complain. They complain about quality, and they say, I really wish there were a flagship EdgeTX radio. Well, if you're one of those guys who's been looking for real top-of-the-line hardware, you really need to take a look at the FlySky PL18 Ultra, okay? You need to. I can tell you that it's really something else. This is a very high-quality radio. Okay, but let's get into some of the goodies in the box, then we'll do the radio. FlySky came out swinging for the fences. That is a Wi-Fi or wireless charger, like a Qi charger. You plug it in USB-C right there in the back, and you can set the radio right on there. Handle's got to be up. You set the radio right on there, and it'll start charging right on your desk. Wireless charging, that's in the box. So very cool little adapter from FlySky for wireless charging on the radio. I think that's cool. And let's get a look at some of the hardware. I do want to show you guys, because this is a module. This is a receiver. This is the FTr88 PWM receiver that'll pair up with this radio. These are a little challenging to get in the United States as of the time they were going to send me the radio. So I asked them, would you please send me a PWM receiver so I can check it out? And they sent me this FTr88. This does not come in the package, okay? This is a review sample. Just wanted to let you guys know that. Now, they also include some additional grips in the back that make the grips stand out a little bit more. So you've got grip options if you want to use those. So rubberized grips. And those grips are here. That's this one and this one, these back grips. And actually, these actually look a little flatter. They don't look more rounded. These look flatter. So if you want less of a pistol grip style on the back, you could use those these extra grips that come in the package. All right, so you got those. Now, here's something that really makes it special. I'm gonna set the box aside, by the way. Nice box. You can travel to the field with that all day long, no problem. Nice secure latch, nice box for taking your radio to the field. If you do such things, I do actually put my radios in boxes and bring them to the field in a box. But let's take a look at some of these little goodies that are in here as well. So they have the little quick start guide, which is nice, and a couple of FlySky decals if you want to use those, and a screen protector, and just not, I got to overstate the obvious because some people on the internet can be. This video is sponsored by FlySky, so I want to say thank you very much to FlySky for including me in the review process. FlySky sent me the radio for review. FlySky-cn.com. I will put a link in the description to this radio after the video's over. I didn't want to do it ahead of time because I didn't want to give away the radio. You guys are smart. You would have figured it out. You'd have been in the description telling everybody in the chat what it is. It's right in the description, guys. Anyway, a couple of extra toggle switches, and this one is a 2-position. That's a 2-position. So if, for example, you wanted to change this, say on your radio, you're used to this being a 2-position switch, you could take this out and switch it for one of these. So they include those in the package, which I think is really nice. And also notice they're not soldered onto some crazy PCB, which means swapping them out inside will be very easy to do. I really appreciate that kind of thoughtfulness. I really do. And then they also include a couple of different styles of stick ends. So you can use these if you want. They're in the bag, so you can change the style. We'll cover the stick ends in a minute. I'll bring you over to the webpage and let you take a look at that. But there are some additional new stick ends you can use if you want to. I thought this was a really nice touch. Nice little feature to add. These are the silicone caps for the switches. So orange and black, you can put any combination on those on your switches that you want. Nice little touch for the silicone switches. And then there's a little bit more in here. These are switch nuts and spacers. Actually, they're rubber rings. So not exactly sure what those are, to be honest with you. There's some kind of spacer. Obviously they go on the switches. So it's maybe more decorative switch nut type of deal. So it's got this little kind of diamond chamfered edge on the end. Maybe it's just a more decorative switch nut, I guess. And these look like rubber gaskets that you might just pop on top of these. So if you just wanted to black these out, I'm sure that's exactly what they are. I didn't notice these when I took the box apart. So I guess you can just take one of these little rubber dealios out and stick it right on top there like that and cover it up. So if you want to kind of black out the radio, you can do that. Nice little feature, right? A lot of little extras in this radio kit. And then what else do we have in here? Oh yeah, this is the neck strap mount. So it comes with a single hole mount right here. And this one is got 3 holes. So it looks like you're going to have to get inside the radio to take that out, though. So a little bit of a job. You'll have to take it apart. But you'll have to take that out. But you do have an option for a 3-hole neck strap, if that's what you want to do, depending on balance. And since somebody is going to ask, let's see if I can lift this up. Let's see if I can lift this up right in the center and see what it does. So there it is. I'd say that's centered pretty well. It's not tipping forward or back on my graph gear pencil, just lifted straight up. So I'd say it's pretty well balanced with the center, with the single ring, if that's what you want to stick with. They give some gimbal springs. So these are hard springs. And there's 2 sets. Oh, soft springs. So hard, soft springs. So you can change the tension on your gimbal sticks if you want to. And then there are a couple of hex drivers to probably take things apart and probably adjust the gimbals. So, I mean, this is what I mean. You guys talk about flagship. You know, first off, you get a lot of gadgets with it. You get a lot of little extras that, you know, why, you know, I always have this idea when it comes to adding extras to things, if it's a marginal cost, marginal, silicone switch covers, got to be a marginal cost. Why wouldn't they include stuff like that? I think that's a good idea. Okay. All right, now let's spend a little time on the radio itself. I'm going to give you a little look around the outside, and then we will take a look at the, will they deaden the feel too? I don't think so. They don't really interfere with the operation. I think they're decorative. I think they're decorative. But anyway, let's take a look at the outside of the radio. Oh, battery inside. Yeah, I'll show you guys the battery in a minute. Battery is actually under here. There are a couple of hex screws you take out. This base comes off the bottom. The SD card is in there, and the battery is underneath. It's a 2-cell. It's shrink wrapped. It's already installed, already in there for you. Okay. All right, so let's take the tour around the outside of the radio. We'll start on the left-hand side. Over here, top left, you have a 3-position switch. It's a tall switch, so easy to reach. On this side, on the front shoulder, on the left side, you've got another 3-position switch. That's a short one. On the right-hand side, 3-position switch. On the right-hand side aft, you've got a momentary switch. Now, for me, that's a problem because that's my throttle cutoff. And I like to use this momentary switch over on this side for instant trim. And I'll also note, this is a 3-position tall switch. So just keep that in mind. You keep that in mind. On my radio, this is a 2-position switch. It's always a 2-position switch. So that would require a little adjustment for me to get used to that. Okay, so those are the switches on the shoulders. On the front left side, you've got another 3-position switch here and a 3-position switch there, 3-position switch there, 3-position switch there. So all of these are 3-position switches except the momentary right there. Okay. In terms of trim switches, you've got a TR1, TR2, TR3, TR4. That's your standard aileron, elevator, throttle, rudder. Okay. And then TR5 and 6, if you have a glider set up and you need crow or some other adjustments. I oftentimes on EdgeTX, I'll use these for momentary switches, which is really nice. So you've got 6 trim switches. And then you've got KL and KR, which for EdgeTX, these are used for navigation, and I'll show you that in a little while. And then in terms of pots, you've got a pot here. That's, I'm not sure if this is S1 or it's probably S1. Probably S2, that's VRC, and probably S3, but it doesn't matter. These are pots. So pot 1, pot 2, pot 3. It could be, who cares, you know, S1, S2, S3, S1, S2, S3. It doesn't matter, but they're all pots. You got 2 power buttons down at the bottom, and you press them simultaneously to power the unit up. So you long press that, the blue light comes on. You can see I've got my EdgeTX background in there, and we're booting up right into EdgeTX. I have not loaded up my models yet. I'll explain that in a little bit. Haven't loaded my models up yet, but there's EdgeTX, which is fantastic. Boots right up, no problem, nice and clean. On the back side, we have, I told you there's mounting apparatus. I was able to put the nano module on here. So 3 screws, they slide in right there. That nano module will snap right into place, and off you go. You can slide whatever module you want. And then the handle, I thought the handle was kind of interesting. It is a latching handle. So you can see there it's latched, but it's also got a release. So it folds. You can put it down like that and it'll fold. And then if you want to lift it up, you just lift it and it folds into place. And if you press it again, you can change the position of that handle to be up here if you want. So nice little touch. Along the top, there are a couple of rubber gaskets. This one says TEI, and this one says USB and DSC. Let's see if I can open that up. So there is your charge port and your audio jack or trainer port. In terms of TEI, I haven't done my homework on that. I'm not sure what that's for, but it looks like a 3-position. I don't know if the camera is going to pick that up. It looks like a 3-wire, like servo style connector. I will have to do a little homework to figure out what that's all about, but that says TEI. I've never used TEI before that I'm aware of. And then also on the back, one last set of controls are these jog dials. So these are also pots. So kind of like flaps, landing gear, maybe. I don't know if you're using a boat, maybe you could trim the rudder with this. I'm not sure, but just a couple of dials on the back. Normally you have on other radios, you have sliders here. On this radio, they're in the back, which is fine. I mean, that's perfectly usable for me. I could easily see myself doing gear up, gear down, flaps up, flaps down. I will say no detent here. I'm not feeling any kind of detent as I move. So that one, like if you wanted a mid position thing, like mid flaps and full flaps, that would be probably challenging to do without a little bit of EdgeTX trickery. With EdgeTX trickery, we can make that happen. But yeah, there's no detent there. So just keep that in mind. And then I think that's it in terms of the tour. I can tell you guys, holding this radio in the hand, it feels substantial. I mean, it feels like a really solid piece of kit. And I'm going to go over the specs with you in just a minute, but I wanted to show you guys something. I have the screen turned pretty far down. I know it's kind of hard to tell, but watch what happens when I yank this thing up. I mean, that's turned all the way. That's turned all the way up, and it is just blowing my camera out. So we'll cover the nits in a second. I'll show you the measurements they took. It is substantial, like 600 plus nits. A very, very bright screen by all appearances. Okay. Now, in terms of navigation, I told you I'd show you that. So right here on the bottom right, you press that, and that brings up the menu. And then on the left-hand side, the KL switches over here. You can use these to navigate. So if you press the up button, that goes to the left. So that would be like a page left. And if you press the right button or the bottom button, that's like your page right. And then if you want to select something, you press the down the lower button on KR. So let's say we want to look at statistics or no, about EdgeTX. So we'll press that, and there we go. We got our little QR code for EdgeTX. And then the top button here works for return. So you have to press that, and that will return out. And then of course the touchscreen is fully functional as well. So you can go into model settings, pick external RF. If you want to select the drop-down list, you press the button, and then you can use the page right and page left to select, what it is you're after. You find what you want. Let me turn the brightness down a little bit so you guys aren't getting blown out. And then you press the button, and that'll select it. And of course, touch works just fine. So no problems with touch. This is an F4 chip, by the way. I know some of you are looking for the new CPUs. This is the F4. It is an F4 based model radio. Okay. All right, now let's see. Yeah, in terms of the response, yeah, I'd say it's very responsive. And given the fact that it's an F4 CPU, and I know that with 2.11, the developers on Edge did an insane amount of work working on LVGL, trying to make the graphics subsystem as responsive as possible. They've done a really nice job. So you can, it's obvious, looking at this that they've done a nice job. There you see a little bit of lag swiping pages. That's our old friend. That's been around for a while on EdgeTX, but it's not terrible, but it's not blazing fast either. So, okay. And I just noticed that the page right and page left does not seem to toggle between the telemetry pages. So it looks like you have to swipe, which is okay. No big deal. Okay. I told you I wanted to take you through some specs. So I'm going to switch over to the desktop, and we're going to take a look. Again, I'll put the link in the description for you guys, so you don't have to go hunt for it. But honestly, if you just search for PL18 Ultra, you'll find it. It'll bring you right here. So specs wise, I need to point out something. FlySky, they do have their own firmware, and I know there's a following for it, which is fantastic. And I've used the firmware. It is functional. Like it does a job. And I think for people coming from, say, Futaba or JR, maybe some of those other legacy firmwares, the FlySky firmware might feel very comfortable to you, very at home to you. I can tell you, for me, coming from OpenTX, I actually did use Futaba like 25 years ago. But once I got back into the hobby back in 2014, 2013 timeframe, it was always OpenTX for me. So that feels very comfortable to me, which is why I flashed immediately EdgeTX, because I really wanted to see, hey, how's this thing doing with EdgeTX? I can tell you that when I using the FlySky firmware, it is fully functional, very much error-free. And for some of you, you might feel very at home using the FlySky firmware. It's not my intention to discount their firmware. It's just that I'm an EdgeTX person. So that's what I tend to use. I told you I would show you the brightness, and you can check this out. The PL18, they're showing 195 lux. They say lux. I'm not sure if that's supposed to be nits or lux, but a relative comparison with the Ultra is 657 lux against 195. And I thought the PL18 was pretty good. So pretty nice. Okay. Adjustable stroke Hall assembly seat, sensitive, precise, and stable. I wanted to point out that you can adjust the tension on the gimbals from the outside of the radio, which is nice. And then I mentioned earlier, you've got the multi-section joystick. So like some guys are thumbers, some guys are pinchers. The standard joystick, I think, is designed for thumbers. The extra joysticks that I showed you, that will let you do more of a pincher or maybe even hybrid style grip. So those are included in the box, which I think is fantastic. I do want to point out the gimbals are definitely digital, and I've always been impressed with the quality of FlySky gimbals. Ever since my first PL18, and they sent me a set of anodized red gimbals. I've always been impressed with the quality. Very linear, very clean. I'll show them to you on the radio too. We'll look at the system hardware. I'll let you get a look at that. I know a lot of people are interested in that type of thing. So we'll take a look. The mechanical stroke adjustable range, 38 degrees to 54. I told you there's a VRC knob design, one finger operation. So depending on, and with Edge, you can configure that knob to be whatever you want. You can be volume, brightness, gear, flaps, whatever, doesn't matter. So real nice there. The KR and KL buttons, I talked to you about that already. That's used for navigation, and the rear scroll wheel it says rear scroll wheel grip press operation. I don't think they press, they just roll. So I'm not sure what the press operation means, but they're just rollers. So that's all they do. We talked a little bit about the grips. One thing I can tell you, just holding the radio in my hand, if this is my normal flying position, I'd say this is about how I hold a radio when I'm flying. And the screen to me is perfect. One thing this is one of the things I've personally been wanting for a long time, is a top screen EdgeTX radio. And the reason for that is because the neck strap, which I use a lanyard, is here. So if you have a screen below the neck strap, then you're constantly working around the neck strap to figure out what's being shown on the screen. So I love the top screen. And then the fact that it's balanced right there, if I just pick it up and hold it, it's balanced. That means I can let it go and I can still see the screen. So this is what I mean. It's like, it is really an exceptional piece of hardware. It's kind of like a flagship grade radio. This is why I started the video saying, hey, if you've been interested in seeing a flagship radio, maybe give this one a look. Okay. So anyway, to go back to the desktop, the slope design better suited to the way most people hold and operate. I would say I would have to agree with that. And then let's see, the foldable handle, we talked about that. The switch, the silicone, we talked about that. The three position lanyard mount, we talked about that. And then they talk about the ability to adapt it to a tray. The tray is not included in the box, so don't go looking for that. But if you are a pincher, these trays might be interesting to you. Nice little palm rest there on the side if you want to do that. And then in their own documentation, this is the one, when I got to this page, I got to be honest, when I first looked at the radio, I'm like, I like the radio hardware for sure, but I'm not, I'm an Edge guy. All my stuff is on Edge and I don't see myself switching. So when I got to this page, I was like, wait, what? Hold on a second. EdgeTX. And it's in their marketing materials. So they're showing you that they worked with the EdgeTX team to make sure that EdgeTX was fully functional. And in my testing so far, it is. They say a large capacity battery, 8,700 milliamp hours. Comes with standard with an 8,700 milliamp hours. Quick release battery design. Yeah, you got to take the screws off the bottom. The tray slides off and you get the battery out if you want to charge it on your own. 18 watts fast charging and 12 watts wireless charging. And then the Type-C interface on the top, you really do use that for connecting to the FlySky Assistant when you're using the FlySky software. And when you first flash it over to EdgeTX, you'll be using that as well. And let's see, comprehensive upgrade, software upgrade in seconds. I would say that, yeah, maybe they're talking about their receivers, but the flash process wasn't long. It was kind of like a buddy.edgetx type of interface. You know, it's an online, a web-based interface where you select the firmware. By the way, the firmware is in EdgeTX now. It's in the nightlies. They said it originally was available on 2.11.2. When I first got the radio, I opened up the zip file and there was no PL18U binary. So I hit Richard Lees, one of the developers, said, hey man, where's the binary for the PL18 Ultra? And he said, huh, how about that? It's not in there. So they fixed it. It's in the nightlies. So if you want to get the nightlies, you can do that. But that's what I used. No, in fact, I take that back. Richard actually gave me a binary he compiled. But it is in the nightlies now. So if you get the radio, you can see the PL18 Ultra binary in the nightlies currently. I checked that last night. So flashing it, again, use an online tool to flash it. Okay. They talk a little bit about some of the FlySky OS parameters and options, 50 sets of model data, data recording function. That's all built into FlySky OS. Of course, you know, with EdgeTX, unlimited model data. And of course you get telemetry and data recording, you know, no doubt about that. When fuel consumption, thoughtful fuel consumption alerts. So I do remember when I was with the PL18 running FlySky OS, checking out the voltage options, and they do have alerts. So you can set alerts based on the voltage threshold, and it does work. It's fully functional. I didn't have any problems with it. So again, if you're a FlySky OS person, you'll understand this. It'll be intuitive to you. And of course, with EdgeTX and telemetry, you'll have that as well. And I think that's it. Just to give them credit in their wireless protocol, the AFH DS3 protocol supports LoRa 12 channel, which is why we can run Express LRS. It's got routine 18 channel, classic 18 channel, fast 8 channel, and CFast 10 channel. So a lot of different protocol options. And I have used some of these other receivers like the FTr10, excellent receiver. It's got telemetry support. I've used some of the fast receivers. So they do have a really excellent receiver, what do they call that? Ecosystem, right? Very, very solid. Lots of PWM options, S-bus options, high quality, diverse antennas, long range stuff if you want to do that. So, you know, if you're looking for a transmit receiver ecosystem that's proprietary, check out AFH DS3. You might find something there that tickles your fancy. For me, as you guys well know, my production stuff is Express LRS. I don't see that changing, which is why I've been, you know, trying to get this thing flashed over to Express LRS. So that's it. That's the spec sheet from FlySky. And I told you I wanted to show you the gimbals. So I'm going to bring up the hardware page and we're going to go into the analogs. And the reason I wanted to show you that is because a lot of you guys talk about drift. Let me get the camera zoomed in just a little bit. Whoops, wrong way. So for those of you who, I don't know, my screen timeout's way too short. Okay. So what I want to do, we'll do the ailerons. So ailerons are there on D4. Okay. So Hall effect, you know, a lot of you guys talk about centering. And on some radios, depending on the hardware, there's a lot of different radios, a lot of different gimbals out there. I'm not calling anybody out, okay? Boy, that timeout is really annoying me. I'm going to find it and kill it because it's just driving me nuts. Backlight, 10 seconds. Let's do max. How do you like me now? Okay, come on, back. Okay, let's get down to my joystick. Sorry about that. I didn't realize that thing was so short. Analogs. Okay. So back on the screen, I'm just not going to touch it. And I want you to take a look at D2. See how rock solid that is? 1022. I mean, it's locked in there. The elevator is D3. That's right over here. So I know a lot of you guys, this is a big deal to you. And I can tell you on FlySky, this is just how it is. It is locked in there, 1021, 1024. Obviously, if we work the throttle over here, that's D2, and then the rudder is going to be D1. So those are your sticks right there, D1, D2, D3, D4. And you can see they're pretty locked in, man. I'm not seeing any movement at all. So in terms of external, so Udo says, what external modules are supported? Well, given that it's EdgeTX, anything that EdgeTX supports, the radio will support. So that's why I was able to plug in a Express LRS module, and it came up right away because EdgeTX supports it, and the bay is standard. It is a standard nano bay in the back. So I would expect things like Crossfire to work fine. You know, the TBS modules to work fine. If you're into, say, an FRM 303 or maybe an older FlySky protocol, you could probably plug that in without any problems at all. So yeah, lots of different options for protocols external. All right, I'm going to scroll back and see if there are any other questions I can answer before I shut this one down, and then we'll get going. Let's see. So we're scrolling. All right. Can it run VBAR? No. Love the design on this transmitter. I do too, Robert. This transmitter, it's definitely it's kind of it's a little bit of a work of art, man. I mean, this feels like if you bring this to the field, man, people are going to stop and look. They're going to be like, "Wait, what?" I don't have a comment on volume yet. I know a lot of you guys are going to say, "What about the volume?" I don't have a comment yet. And the reason for that is, frankly, that I haven't taken it outside and blasted it yet at the field. So until I do that, I really don't want to comment on the volume. I'll let you know as soon as I do, okay? I'll give you my feedback once I take it to the field. And some of you guys might be saying, why aren't you been flying? Man, 116. Dave and I went flying last weekend, and we roasted to death. It was really brutal. I mean, it was so hot, I was concerned for my health. So, yeah, it just was too much. So we'll get back to flying, but we're going to probably start going at like 5 in the morning and stopping by like 9:30 in the morning or 10 in the morning. All right, let's see. I use the FlySky Noble for my cars. Very impressive for the money. I agree. It's just high quality stuff. Love the design on the transmitter. Agreed. Something ELRS and higher end is long overdue in ELS world. I agree too. I mean, I've been you know, the more I handle this radio, the more impressed I get with it. Because it's really everything that we've asked for. It's everything that everybody that has been serious critic, not somebody just grinding an axe, right? I'm talking about serious critics. It's got everything that those serious critics ask for. It's got the top screen, very bright screen. I mean, the screen is freaking bright. You know, it's really blowing out my camera, and you can see how dark everything else gets around. That's a bright screen. The audio, I reserve judgment. The weight and feel are it's not like a beast in terms of weight, but it is substantial. All metal front plate. All of the switches just feel like, they all feel like hi-fi gear, right? Every one of them. They feel like something you find on a high-end piece of stereo equipment. I know some people talk about the feel of plastic. I never understood that myself. I don't get that one. So I really can't comment on the feel of the plastic. The knobs, the pots, where they do have detents. Nope, no detents. There's no detent there. I didn't notice that. There's no detent on that pot either, which, you know, for me, that's no big deal because I use these two for brightness and volume. So that's not a problem for me. Where I do have a problem without the detent is for flaps. So if I use one of these wheels for flaps, yeah, you know, it almost feels like when I roll. You know what? I lied. There is a detent there. Yeah, there is a detent there, but it's easy to go over it. It's like if you're, yeah, there is a detent there. I lied. I misspoke. Sorry. My bad. There is a detent, but again, it is easy to skip over it, especially it seems like on this one, it's easy to skip over. On this one, it's a little more that you can feel. So I lied. There is a detent on those rollers, but it's not what you're going to like. I'll put it that way. That detent needs to be a little bit more pronounced. Not terrible, but it's a little light. And I'm going to just double check here to make sure I didn't miss it on the knobs. No, I did not. There's no detent there at all. And then VRC, that has a detent. That definitely has a real solid, that's the way a detent should feel. Like it stops right there for sure. So that's got a nice detent. So maybe flaps, maybe your VRC could be your flaps, you know? You could do flaps down, flaps mid, flaps up. That'd work. That'd work. Okay, so anyway, yeah, I agree. It addresses all the concerns that most people have. You've got the external modules. You've got really high quality 12-bit digital gimbals. Got a very bright screen. All the 3-position switches you want. You've got the extra set of trim switches. Easy navigation. The power redundancy. So if you just hit one power button, you cannot turn it off. You have to hit both. You can't do it on accident. So to turn it off, and I do have my turn off set to instant. So it goes off instantly. That's my design, my preference. Okay. You can't turn it on with just a single press. We'll verify, but no, you can't. You have to press both buttons down, and that will turn the radio back on. I'd say boot time is very consistent with other EdgeTX radios. F4 processor. Let's go fly something. Yeah, you hear that volume? That's up. That's up there. Is that the? Oh, my VRC is the volume. Oh, let's try that. I'm going to turn it off and let you guys hear it. I'm going to put you on the mic. Let's hear it.
Let's go fly something.
That sounds pretty good. And I'd say the audio sounds pretty good too. It sounds like a decent speaker, but I'm still going to reserve judgment until I'm outside at the field flying. So I'll reserve judgment on that. All right. Let us know when you find a higher end one. Okay. I need a Bridge Legacy TX16. I'm getting excited. This might be the one. Yeah. Yeah. If you guys have been looking for a really nice upgrade, this one's definitely something to think about. Your next review, when you have native VRLS and standard EdgeTX up and running, will make my decision. Yeah. As soon as I can get native Express LRS going, I'll be doing a video on that for sure. Let's see, Robert, how is the weight when you pick it up by the strap holder, John? I think the weight all in, it was on the spec sheet. Let me just check the weight real quick. I closed the browser, so give me a second. PL18. I'm having a problem here. All right, the weight. Okay, it's not giving me the weight on that sheet. Let's see if I can find it. Weight, 1,000 grams. 1,000 grams is the weight, Robert. All in. So 1,000 weight. Weight when you pick it up by the strap holder. I mean, you know, I can pinch it and hold it if that's any indication. But in the hands, it is heavier than like, I'm just going to compare it to a TX16S because that's what I know. It is heavier than that one. It feels heavier, but not by a lot, just a little. Just a little bit. All right. Let's see. That goes over the stock one. Wonder if those rubber grips are also going to deaden the switch feel. No, I don't. We covered that already. John's lefty is why he likes it this way. Yep. Mine are Swamp 2, user front right. Okay. I'm looking for questions here before I wrap the video up. I've been doing more plane stuff recently. Still love my RadioMaster. I do too. RadioMasters, they've been so good to the channel, and they're really, really innovating over there at RadioMasters. A lot of credit. So a brand new FlySky Nirvana in the box I never used. Okay. Can it do VBAR things like lockout and packet loss? I don't know. I know zero about VBAR. I don't know. Couldn't answer that one. Sorry. I'm not a VBAR kind of guy. I'm a Nexus EdgeTX and Express LRS kind of guy. Real-time response. Yeah. Very quick. The menu action is definitely very quick. No problems there. Click the screen, radio settings. Yeah, I'm not seeing any problems there. If I click it again and do model settings, or we'll click back and do manage models. Got a bunch of ands in here. Let me turn that off and that off and that off. There we go. So yeah, the screen loads up reasonably fast. There's my ARS 300. We'll select model. So the reason I haven't flown with it yet is because the switches are going to be a little different. And I have to go through any airplane I go through. I have to go through every switch setup to make sure it's right. And one big thing that's going to be problematic for me is I use a momentary button right here on my other radio. And I use that a lot. So for all my setups, I'll have to figure something else out. Like, I might have to reassign that to T5 or something. So that's part of the reason. And then our limited fly days due to heat is another reason. I haven't done the flying video with this yet. FlySky doesn't mention Express LRS. That's fine. Keep in mind, FlySky's got some proprietary commercial protocols, and that's what they're going to try and sell, right? And I get that. That's fine. But it does support Express LRS, and it is flashable. I've already run their tool to flash it. In fact, I was the one who discovered the bug and said, hey, it doesn't work. And the developer's like, oh, yeah, you're right. It doesn't work. So they're working on it. So it'll get done. I have every confidence it'll get done. The people that I talk to, they would never lie to me about something like that. And I also know they won't sleep until it happens. So they'll get it done. I have 100% faith it'll happen. That's our good man's desktop. Okay. I don't like the upper and lower trim switches. Okay. You also figured out just funny. $499 price tag. Yeah, you might have to wait for a sale or see what happens when, it gets out there, maybe after the initial burst. I don't know. But, this is one of those things. It's one of those trade-offs. You can say, well, I'll take a $300 radio that feels a little bit, maybe there's some upgrades I could do. Or I'll just pay the extra $150 and have to do nothing. So just something to think about. Is there any way to connect the display with an external VRX? Not that I know of. I do like the top screen. I agree. Swamp Fox says it beats $2,000. Yep, it absolutely does. Didn't RadioMaster also hint at some new release coming? I have no comment. Dave Hogue says, doesn't the 3-position neck strap thing just fasten the stock one? Oh, maybe it does. I don't know. Maybe it does. I'll have to check. Good question. It may. Let's see if I can find out on the screen. Let's see. Does it just fasten over the top? Oh, you know what? It definitely looks like it does. That's a good call. David Hogue, you get the booby prize for tonight. It does look like it screws right over the top of the 3-position. Excellent. Then I have to take the radio apart. Very, very good. Thank you. Thanks for fixing me. Not sure you mentioned below SD card. It does have an SD card. It's right underneath. And by the way, if you do convert to EdgeTX, you're going to have to build your own SD card. One easy way to do that is, just go to EdgeTX, the GitHub, and you can download all the contents right there. I did actually create a brand new SD card. I dropped my sound folder, my model folder, my images folder. That's all I copied over. And then I did the calibration per the new radio setup, and I was up and running in no time. It was ready to go. Very simple. Very simple. But you will have to add, it does not come with an SD card. You'll need to add your own. And when you add your own, you'll need to build your own contents on EdgeTX. That's a very good question. It comes with a slot, but you have to do your own thing. Pretty sure he said there's a card right above the batteries. Yep. It's right in the same compartment with the batteries in here. Yep. Looks cool. What external modules? We covered that already. Gimbals are CNC aluminum. FlySky, to be honest, one of the radios not very many people pick up. It has very good track record. I agree, man. I think it's almost like they're unsung heroes out there. They're producing very top quality gear, and I just don't see that much out there, and I don't know why. I really don't know why. What was the little Nirvana, the little NV, that little NV14? It's kind of a weird little radio, but it was cool, man. It had the center screen, vertical orientation, like the portrait orientation. It was kind of cool. Kind of a cool little radio. Can you show the size compared to the TX16S? This is a sponsored video by FlySky, so I'm going to say no on that one. Sorry. It's a sponsored video, man. I'm not going to put their competitor up there. Curious how thick it is compared to the TX16S. I'd say very similar in feel, especially if you take these big, the big pistol grips off the back and put the flat ones on. I'd say very, very comparable in size. All right. The 2 power button thing is silly. See, the problem with that off axis though, is some people are like maniacs about power and safety and turning stuff on and off by accident. I kind of agree. I don't think it's really necessary, but I think it'll solve a problem. And, to be perfectly frank with you, it's not like it's a big inconvenience. It's like, okay, so what? I'm pressing 2 buttons instead of 1. Who cares? It doesn't bother me. And it'll certainly solve problems that some people have, about safety. So it is what it is. It's there. So embrace the horror. I'm curious how thick it is compared. We covered that. Maybe I add a momentary button video coming up soon. Yeah, maybe. How thick is it? We talked about that. Good to see you streaming again. Well, I appreciate that, Midwest RC. Let's see. Look at the pick. It does what I win. Yeah, you win the booby prize, David, for picking out the fact that the 3-ring neck straps just bolts right on top of the single ring. So you get the booby prize for tonight. I like the vertical Nirvana. Yeah, it's an interesting form factor. The 2-button thing makes sense if you're putting it in a backpack and it might be pressed. Sure. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of reasons for it. It is what it is. It's just the way they did it. So anyway, guys, there is the PL18 Ultra 45-minute live stream. First look. I got to tell you, man, this one has legitimate potential to be a daily driver for anybody that's looking for a flagship style radio, especially with the top screen and especially when we can flash Express LRS. I mean, for me, that's my ecosystem. This would be a really legitimate radio to take to the field every single day and fly. I can tell you right now. Oh yeah. One other thing, notice no antennas, there's no dipole, no T antenna. It's all self-contained internal. I forgot to mention that, but yeah, nothing to get in your way, man. When you're done flying, you fold this handle down, drop it in your box, press your power buttons and good night, Sally. It's over. So yeah, if you're looking for a flagship radio, you complain about quality in the past, you're willing to spend a little bit extra on a high-end piece of kit, you might want to take a look at this one. It might be just what you've been waiting for. The one thing I'd remind you, it's an F4 CPU. Just keep that in mind. It is an F4. Not interested in jobs. Okay. The top screen is a kicker for me. I love that. I agree, man. Top screen is I've been asking for a top screen, and I'm thrilled to see it on an EdgeTX flagship style radio for sure. So, all right, guys. Hey, it's been really fun doing this live stream with you. Thanks for helping me out along the way and helping me pick out and make some corrections. I appreciate that. And I really want to say again, thank you to FlySky for sending the PL18 Ultra out for review. I also want to make sure I say thanks to the EdgeTX guys, the Express LRS guys, all the developers over at FlySky who are making, these combos possible. I got to really, one thing I'm going to really give FlySky credit for, they're doing their proprietary thing, which is fine. That's fine. They've got an ecosystem. They're trying to make some money. That's fine. But they're also saying, hey, this hardware would be usable for a whole community of people outside of FlySky OS, and that's me. So I was really happy to see what they did here. So thanks to FlySky, man. They're making an effort to engage the community by working with the EdgeTX team, working with the Express LRS team, and what more can you ask for, right? They're making an effort. So, if you're one of the ones that complains about a flagship radio and super high quality, go buy it. Go buy it. If you're going to talk the talk, put your money where your mouth is and go get the radio and support the vendors that are listening to you. Okay. This is a high-end radio. There's no doubt about it. So go check it out. FlySky, good job, man. You guys, hats off. That's all I can say. Big props to FlySky for putting out a quality product like this. This looks like a real winner to me. All right, guys, that is good. That's good content for the night. I hope you appreciate the stream. If you did, make sure you subscribe if you're not already. We have about 60% of the people who watch my videos don't subscribe. 60%, 40% of the viewers do. So if you're not a subscriber, I really appreciate, hit that subscribe button. And then one other little simple thing you guys can do. I sat up all night on a work night flashing EdgeTX trying to get this to work so I could show you guys. One little tiny thing you could do is hit the thumbs up button. It takes like 5 milliseconds. Give me a thumbs up, man. It helps with placement on the videos. It's like one of the best things you can do on YouTube to help YouTube or, help the channel grow. So subscribe, thumbs up, hit the bell so you know new videos hit the channel. That's all I've got for tonight. Take it easy and get out there and fly something.